Do you believe the Bengals have won 3 straight? They play the Broncos with a ton on the line this week. We're about to break it all down right now on Enter the Jungle. Hi again, everyone, and welcome into Cincinnati Bengals Talk. I'm James Rapien. He is Andrew Fox Miller. Merry Christmas and happy holidays to each and every one of you. Shout out to our sponsor, Garage Beer. Catch us every single Tuesday, even on Christmas Eve at 8 Eastern, right here on CBT. Hit that subscribe button, ring the bell. And if you're watching on FanDuel Sports Network, well, go to the YouTube channel, Cincinnati Bengals Talk as well, and subscribe for more videos like this one. And we have a packed and stacked show, starting with Saturday's game. It's Bengals, it's Broncos, it's meaningful football in December, something that when the Bengals lost 44-38 to the Pittsburgh Steelers on December 1st, Andrew, I didn't think we'd get. And yet here we are. The Bengals season is on the line on Saturday, and there's a ton of playoff implications behind it.
I have a lot of thoughts on this. We only have so much time, James. I think, is that the question? Do we believe? Is that what we're putting at the forefront here?
Do you believe?
Do you? No.
Oh, no, you don't believe.
I believe they can beat the Broncos. Do I believe everything's going to align perfectly for them to get in the playoffs? I'm really no on that one too. I mean, come on, that's so difficult. It'll be all the more rewarding if it happens, all the more shocking if it happens. We're still here, aren't we?
People like you just make me sick.
Okay. For reasons outside of football and with football, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm being a realist. No, I didn't even know you were going to go this route. I actually thought I'd get optimistic, Andrew, because we're recording this on Christmas Eve.
Okay.
It's the holiday season. The Bengals have won 3 straight. Joe Burrow is well on his way to winning another NFL award in a few weeks. And Jamar Chase is setting records. And you're over here like, yeah, is it going to happen? No.
Oh, how does Jamar Chase setting records impact whether or not the Colts lose a game of the remaining 2? How does Joe Burrow potentially winning MVP change whether or not the Miami Dolphins lose a game of their remaining 2 games? Like, that's where I'm standing. That's where I'm sitting right now. That's what I'm saying.
Well, it should change it, because if the NFL was even remotely rigged, they should prefer Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase being in the playoffs, because they're 2 of like the 5 biggest stars in the NFL. So there you go. If the NFL is rigged, the Bengals will find a way to get into the playoffs. You saw it here first. No, but to your point, yeah, a lot of things need to happen. And that's why when I think of, oh, well, the Dolphins have to lose one of their next 2 games. The Bengals have to beat the Broncos, and then the Broncos have to lose week 18 to the Chiefs. The Colts have to lose one of their next 2 games. Like, when I think of all those things that need to happen, and then all of the other tentacles, and we did a video on this on Monday, so check that out if you're missing it or you're wanting to know. But it's like, that 16-10 loss to New England after week 1, like, we sat there and we talked about it. And it was like, this feels like it could bite them in the butt. And then you have the Jaden Daniels game. You have the botched hold game for Ryan Rico. You have the second Baltimore game. You have the Pittsburgh game where Lou Anarumo's defense couldn't stop a nosebleed. And they're 2-7 in 1-score games. And there's other games. But I think that the thing that, when I go through the playoff scenarios the most, that irks me, or when I think and try to answer the question, do I believe? The thing that I keep going back to is, oh my God, how did you guys blow all of those games that you should, like the Patriots game, they should have won with you at quarterback. They had Joe Burrow at quarterback. How did they lose that game? And I know that irks the powers that be, coaches, all of the above, because that's a game they should have won. And so when I think of all of this, all the scenarios, and should I believe, should I not, I just go back to all of these games, starting with the Patriots game week 1. And I seriously wonder, how in the hell did you lose that game?
New England is the game I always go back to. One, because it was week 1. Like, you're thinking about how they kicked off the season and the impact of the way that felt, of like, where are we going? Here we go again. Slow start. I hope that whatever happens, whether or not they make the postseason, especially if they don't, let's just say that, I guess, that this team is looking back and going, that's a moment where you can reflect. I don't want them to think about it now, but they need to be. We can think about that now. I don't want them to think about that now. But they should be looking back at that and being like, look at how critical just a week one game was out of division. And here we are. I cannot stop thinking about that game. I don't know what that says about me or you if you're still doing the same thing, but I'm obsessed with that game. And I didn't think much of it at the time other than disappointment.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's not just that game.
It's not,
but there were so many things that went into that game. You know, the T Higgins injury on the Thursday that they didn't think was that bad, and then he came in Friday and it was, so he missed time. All of these things, and that's just one of the many. The Tanner
Jamar
Hudson
coming off a
fumble.
hold in.
Well, that was a huge one because Jamar clearly wasn't himself,
Right.
and mentally, or it just wasn't there because of everything going on. The Tanner Hudson fumble on the goal line. Jacoby Brissett running for 3 first downs when he runs like you. Jacoby Fox Miller Brissett runs like you.
Happy
Anyways,
holidays,
yeah.
everyone. Aren't we having
Good
fun?
God. Just plodding all over. Boom, 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 boom. Like,
Hey,
good God. Like,
I joke about it. I say, aren't we having fun? It's sarcasm, of course. But speaking of fun, look, if there's something to be thankful for this holiday season, we're still watching meaningful football games for the Cincinnati Bengals team until we aren't. But it's happening right now. I would have never guessed it if we had talked about it in November like this. So here we are.
Sure. I would have. There was a time in November, but like I said, after December 1, cooked. You're 4-8. Going to that game, you're 4-7. If you beat the Steelers, you get to 5-7. Then you have some winnable games coming up. Like we said, all that, but then they got cooked by Russ, and they felt cooked. And yet they're still here. They're still around, and that's why Saturday is so important to me when I'm evaluating this team, when I'm evaluating this coaching staff, when I'm evaluating these players, because it isn't just about what they can't control. It's all about what they can control. And if I'm Mike Brown, if I'm Katie Blackburn, if I'm Duke Tobin, Troy Blackburn, these people that are making the decisions with the coaching staff, about the coaching staff. Heck, if I'm Zach Taylor, Zach will be back, spoiler, but everyone around him, that's what Saturday means, is it's like, all right, defense, you're showing signs. Now go prove it against Bo Nix and Sean Payton. And people are going to be like, Bo Nix is a rookie. You should tear him. He's actually been really good. Not great, but good. So go do it against a good quarterback. This isn't Dorian Thompson-Robinson. This isn't Will Levis, who is, oh my goodness. Anyways, just had no chance. And so this is their opportunity, regardless of all the other stuff, to prove it, to show that what they've done over the past 3 weeks is who they truly are. If you're Cam Taylor-Britt, this is a chance for you to show who you truly are. And I do think he's closer to what we've seen in the recent weeks than we saw at the beginning of the season. But I need you to keep showing it. I'm intrigued by how Geno Stone is playing. Will it continue? Will McKinley Jackson and Chris Jenkins and all of these guys, these young defensive linemen that have stepped up, Miles Murphy had some pressures the other day. Will those guys continue to take a step forward against a good Broncos front? We'll see. And that's what Saturday is about for me. Obviously, it's about keeping the season alive, meaningful football in December. And I am grateful. You better believe I'm grateful that we're not talking draft right now. I love it. And I love the draft, but there's a time and place. And Christmas isn't it. So to me, that's what I'm looking for. That's what this game is about. Prove it. Lou, prove it. Prove you deserve to be back next year. These young players, prove you deserve to have a significant role. Jordan Battle next year. That's what I'm looking at.
All right. Meaningful football. All of that said, that's going to be the theme until it's not. Thankful. That's it. That's all I've got.
Thankful. That's a different holiday, Andrew.
No,
it's a different holiday.
Do you even watch Christmas movies? Do you want?
No, I don't watch Hallmark Christmas movies. I watch
Hallmark.
And I watch Home Alone. You know what? I'm going to leave it there because I'm not sure if I was allowed to say Hallmark or not. He's Andrew Fox Miller. I'm James Rapien. Up next, Joey B for MVP. We'll answer that question coming up next. Welcome back to Enter the Jungle. He's Andrew Fox Miller. I'm James Rapien. Let's get into the MVP race. It's got to be Josh Allen, right? Oh, no. It's got to be Lamar Jackson. Saquon Barkley, what he's doing in Philly. I'm just going to say it out loud and ask the question, and then I'll give you my thoughts. But Joe Burrow. Should Joe Burrow be the MVP if the Bengals find their way into the playoffs at 9-8?
If they find their way in, if they find their way into the playoffs, yes, yes. If they find
Hmm.
their way in the playoffs, odds makers right now, you make a little change if you want to bet on that, but
Hmm.
those odds, I imagine, aren't going to pay out as well if they have a real high percentage shot of getting into the playoffs.
I'll say it right now because you're kind of there. You're kind of there, but not all the way.
I'm not James there.
No, you're not. There's 2 awards that Joe Burrow should be in serious consideration for. One should already be done, over with, sealed, signed, delivered. Joe Burrow is absolutely the comeback player of the year.
Mm.
And I've seen some people say, "Oh, well, because of the rules, it should be Sam Darnold, or it should be this guy or that guy." Or actually, no one should be close to Joe Burrow. So I want to start there. It shouldn't be close. He should win it. I don't care about the rules. Like if Darnold, because I heard, oh, Darnold's not eligible, he's not coming back from an injury. I don't care if he was eligible. Couldn't care less. Joe Burrow came back from this wrist reconstruction surgery that was just insane. And it wasn't called wrist reconstruction surgery, but he had a ligament that came, like, controls his grip on his throwing hand, could not throw. And it's this super serious thing. And all these people are saying how he's never going to be the same and he's never going to be able to grip and all of these things. And Joe Burrow just goes out there, and right now he has 39 touchdowns and 8 picks. He's on pace to shatter his franchise record for passing yards. Right now he's at 4,229. He's completing 69 percent of his passes. 4,229 yards wise. Why is that relevant, Andrew? He's the first quarterback in Bengals history to tap the 4,000 yard passing mark 3 different times in his career. Carson Palmer and Andy Dalton did it twice. Joe Burrow has thrown for 250 plus yards and 3 touchdowns in 7 straight games. First quarterback in NFL history to do so. Not only is he the comeback player of the year, but to me, when you think of value and you think about the defense that we've talked about and how they lost to the Patriots and how they've been so bad in 1-score games. Well, why were these 1-score games? Why did they keep up with the Commanders? Why did they go to Baltimore and give Lamar Jackson everything he can handle? Why do I think that the last thing Patrick Mahomes wants to see or Josh Allen wants to see is Joe Burrow in the playoffs? It's because he is the MVP. The problem is, and this is a problem, no quarterback has ever won the award. No player has ever won the award on a losing team. There's one. 2, I don't think he will win it if they don't make the playoffs. And he might not win it if they do make the playoffs as a 7 seed, because they'll have to back their way in. But when I think of valuable, everything revolves around Joe Burrow. Like the entire city does. It's not even just the franchise. Like everyone revolves around. If Joe Burrow's in a good mood and he's joking, well, guess what? All of a sudden, social media is a nicer place. And he's got the numbers to back it up. So yeah, of course, if I had an MVP vote, he would be the MVP. I don't think he's going to win it. I think it'll probably be Josh Allen. Lamar Jackson certainly deserves consideration, but Joe Burrow's right there for me with those guys.
Objectively, would you vote for him as MVP if they didn't make the playoffs? Forget precedent, all of that. Would you do
I
that?
Yeah, I don't. I heard Rex Ryan on Monday say it's a team award, and it's not. Like, that's what's wrong with people. It's the most valuable player. Who value? Do you know what value means? No one knows what value means anymore, and it's silly. And so, like, it should be Saquon Barkley or Jamar Chase for offensive player of the year. Those are the 2 guys. For MVP, Josh Allen, super valuable to the Buffalo Bills. Lamar Jackson, super valuable to the Baltimore Ravens. Joe Burrow, super valuable to the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't think that Jared Goff is that valuable to the Detroit Lions. I think he's a good player. I also think that they're loaded on offense, and that's why he's putting up huge numbers. I don't think Saquon Barkley is the most valuable player on the Eagles. Really good offensive player of the year candidate. I don't think he's the most valuable. And so I think these analysts, it's not a team award. Rex, it's a player world, the most valuable. And so that's how I would vote. So yeah, of course, Joe would be right there. I would have to dive really into the numbers with Josh and Lamar, and I haven't seen every snap they've taken like I've seen Joe's every snap. So I don't want to say for sure I would vote for Joe, but he's in the top 3 by far.
Okay. Do we have time for Jamar?
Not to debate it, but I don't know how you can be in the Triple Crown running, in the running for it, and leading it going into week 17 and not be right there for offensive player of the year. I don't think there's a more valuable receiver in the NFL. I'll say that.
If he doesn't win Triple Crown, there's still an argument, right? I mean,
Oh, for sure. I mean,
yeah.
16 touchdowns. That alone. Oh, and then you look at the receptions, you look at the yards over 1,500. Absolutely. He's got a big test this week.
You talk about Joe, everything revolving around him. Obviously, Jamar not quite to the same extent, but he's next man up in that
Mhm.
conversation, and he's not
Yeah.
far from it.
Yeah. Not far from it at all. We'll see if they can get it done. They gotta keep winning, and they gotta keep playing at a high level. They've played at the highest of levels, and Joe Burrow, as good as he is as a quarterback, he might be an even better gift giver.
Mm.
You'll hear from Joe Burrow coming up next. Welcome back to Enter the Jungle. He's Andrew Fox Miller. I'm James Rapien. And Andrew, you're excited about this. Joe
Oh, yeah.
Burrow. Joe Burrow gifted the entire Bengals offensive line swords, authentic Japanese samurai swords. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I've seen them like from a distance. I haven't held one yet. I know a couple of people did. I'm gonna try to hold one this week. But Joe Burrow was asked about it after the win over the Browns. Here's what Joey B had to say, and how about the Bengals offensive line and what they asked for initially?
Well, they wanted guns. And I was like, I don't know about guns, guys. And so I was in the weapon mindset, and I was like, what's a cool weapon? And samurai swords, I think, are pretty dang cool. And Nicole, she works for me, and she was able to go and find them for me. So she did a great job finding the best ones out there. So I think guys were excited about it.
A katana for a gift, amazing. I don't know if that's going to be top this year. I don't know if it's going to be top, I don't know, in years to come as far as a story, right? I don't know about the guns thing though. Can we talk about that for a second? like what was it going to get? Like an arsenal? Like what was it going to just a weapons cache just handing out? Well, what? How was that even a legitimate request? I don't know. Has that happened ever in the league? Maybe I'm not even aware of it. Just handing out guns. I don't know. Maybe Joe just he's thinking about all kinds of protection on and off the field, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he wouldn't be able to bring him to the facility. I mean,
Right.
that's not allowed. So, yeah, but yeah, I thought that was hilarious, and you could tell like he hesitates. Like, should I say this? Should I not say it? I'm gonna say it. And so the guns thing, I thought it was funny. Look, I love their creativeness because I never would have guessed like you go that route. It's just such a cool thing, and I know you appreciate it. You're into this stuff. You were excited about this.
Shogun.
I'll
I'll watch.
down.
Heck yeah. In fact, here's how cool of a gift that is. Just to kind of, for anyone that doesn't even care for, we're not going to break down like the whole history behind it. We don't even know all the details of that other than that, hey, this is 15th, 16th century, blah, 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 blah. It's cool.
Mm-hmm.
But let's tap into the most basic, primal interests that human beings may have. And I usually look to my children when I think of those things. And before we were recording, I was walking to my office, and this was lying with some of their toys on the floor. And this was just laying on the floor. My 10-year-old had this sitting there. He got this because Bengals colors. This didn't happen with Joe Burrow before he got this. He got this on his own accord. This was weeks ago, maybe months ago. He got himself a little katana. So 10-year-old grows up. Someone hands you a legitimate one that you can place on your mantle. You can tell stories about. Like, that's awesome.
And you got it from Joe Burrow. Like, if you're Devin Cochran, Joe Burrow gifted you that. If you're Matt Lee or whoever, and who knows, Matt Lee may go on to be a Hall of Famer. Same with Devin Cochran, but you get my point. That's pretty cool.
Christmas, every family coming over, guess what? That fruit's being prepared there, and guess what I'm slicing it with? And it's airborne when it happens, I promise you.
I love it. Freaking Andrew's going to go take katana classes. Up next, there's a streak, Andrew, that has happened. That I think I'm the only one that's pointing it out, outside of maybe Zach Taylor. We'll get to that coming up next. Welcome back to Enter the Jungle. I'm James Rapien. He's Andrew Fox Miller. And the Bengals, they've won 3 straight games. And Andrew, you might not know this. In fact, I'll just straight up ask you. Do you know who the Bengals captains have been over the past 3 games?
I'm going to miss somebody. Go.
Yes or
tell me.
no?
I'm going to say no. I'll say no.
It's been the same 3 guys: Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins.
Okay.
He trotted them out there on prime time in Dallas. Boom, they get the win. Trotted them out there against Brian Callahan and the Titans. Boom, they get the win. Trotted them out there against the Cleveland Browns. Boom, they get the win. You want to bet me that those 3 are the captains on Saturday in a must-win against Denver? You better believe it. One more fun one for you, Andrew. Speaking of streaks, because they're 3-0 with those 3 as captains. Another trio is 18-0. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and Cade York, who made that 59-yard field goal against the Browns, tying the Bengals franchise record. Cash Money Cade, as you call him.
That's right.
Is 18-0. They were 15-0 at LSU in 2019 en route to a national championship together as a trio. 3-0 now with the Bengals. They signed him. They've beat these past 3 teams, Dallas, Tennessee, and Cleveland. So we'll see if the streak can continue on Saturday.
And by the way, Cash Money Cade, way to go against your former team and set a entire franchise record against them. I was seeing things on social media in real time, like, don't worry, we don't miss him. And then the 59-yarder happened. Not that maybe that changed your opinion, but it still felt pretty sweet.
Yeah, especially because the Browns missed an extra point. So
that's right.
Little insult to injury. For Andrew, I'm James. We appreciate each and every one of you for watching every single week, especially on a holiday week. Please hit that subscribe button and ring the bell on YouTube, Cincinnati Bengals Talk. And for Andrew, I'm James. Thank you so much for watching Enter the Jungle.
Could we merch Enter the Jungle katanas? Just throwing it out there.
I'm in.
I'll put an inscription. I'll tell all the stories. Like, this is the James Rapien katana.
Oh, yours would be the plotter. You plodding around, running like Jacoby Brissett.
Wow, callback, taking it full circle with this episode. Look at you, already building your legend for the katana.
The plotter. He's the plotter. No one can catch him. Here he runs again.
Maybe we don't make a katana for you. It's just going to be like me and then like a
Mike
garage beer katana.